The Enneagram of Personality is one of the greatest tools for story construction. The Enneagram of Personality is a system that categorizes human personalities into 9 distinct types, each represented by a number from 1 to 9. Think of it like a map that helps explain why people behave the way they do based on their core fears and desires. Each number on the Enneagram stands for a specific personality type, highlighting different motivations, fears, and attitudes towards life. This is widely used in self-help, therapy, and personal development to help individuals understand themselves and others better. I found it useful for writing stories, since the plot itself revolves around a protagonist facing a problem they cannot ignore. For us writers to create the plot, we need to know the protagonist's issue, what's broken about them, so to speak, as well as the thematic topic we wish to comment on. Real quick aside, I'll discuss everything with the Enneagram and theme in an upcoming video. In fact, there's a lot you can do with this tool. I'm experimenting with it for things like world building and magic, for instance, but I'll elaborate more on that in a future video. If you do want to know about that stuff sooner, consider becoming a channel member as they receive previews for future content. Anyway, knowing a character's Enneagram type clarifies all kinds of commonly asked character questions from the outset. Each Enneagram's specific core fear and desire can dictate this broken element and inform the worldview we're designing this character around. Since we'll know where this exact issue lies, we can then know what to focus the story around and design from there. Take, for instance, a character based on Enneagram Type 5, the Investigator. Type 5s are characterized by an intense desire to understand the world around them and a deep fear of being incompetent or overwhelmed by it. This makes them withdrawn, observant, and highly analytical, traits that can lead to isolation if left unchecked. When translating this to an actual story, we find a shining example of a Type 5 narrative in Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. The titular Frieren is an elf mage who embodies the Type 5's thirst for knowledge as well as their detachment from social connections. In her story, the broken aspect revolves around her emotional detachment from humanity and her struggles with understanding the fleeting nature of human life. If I were the writer behind Frieren, I'd use this knowledge surrounding the Type 5 to craft scenes that explore and challenge her detachment. Because of it, I know it's important to focus on. What I've shared so far is me using it on a simple level too. It can be taken much further as an aid in character construction. For instance, in the fantasy fiction formula, Deborah Chester provides an amazing 75-question dossier which the Enneagram can help out with quickly. For instance, question 19. When opposed or thwarted by someone, how does this character typically react? Since the protagonist of my main story is an Enneagram 8 Wing 7, I know she's going to use a mixture of assertiveness and charm. I also know that when that doesn't work and she's truly hurt, she's going to retreat. In taking on aspects of a Type 5, she'll become more private, spend more time trying to think through the problem, and likely brood much more. She typically doesn't like being around people when in this state, and knowing that logic, I can use that accordingly when writing. It allows me to plot the story and reactions in a manner that feels believable. And since it feels believable, the character comes across as a legitimate individual, for better and for worse. I can go on and on with this, but I'll save that for those who ask things in the comments as questions get my mind going. Now, just a note, the Enneagram is the second step in my character construction process. For those who don't know my process, it goes archetype, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, desire profile, backstory. The Enneagram's position in this stays close to the storytelling function of the archetype, while adding more individuality to the archetype. When I approach the archetype phase, I focus on answering the question of, what role is this character meant to serve in the plot? When I get to the Enneagram phase, I'm answering, why is this character choosing to act out this role? Basically, what's their motivation? If you want to understand more about archetypes and why they're first, check out this video. And if you wish to learn the next steps of my process with Myers-Briggs temperament, it'll be in the next video I release.